Hestia. Hestia was the firstborn child of Titans Cronus and Rhea. When Cronus swallowed his children for fear of one dethroning him, Hestia was swallowed first, for she was the eldest. After Zeus overthrew his father, he forced Cronus to throw up all the children he had devoured. Hestia was the last one to come out, making her both the oldest and the youngest of her siblings. Hestia was best known as the Greek goddess of hearth, home, and family. She was one of the 12 Olympian gods that lived on Mount Olympus. Hestia was usually pictured as a modest woman wearing a veil, standing by a large fire, carrying a staff or holding some flowers in her hands. She was kind and gentle who didn't get involved in politics and rivalries of other Olympian gods. Apollo and Poseidon wanted to marry her, fearing that choosing either of them may result to quarrel. Hestia refused them both. Some say that in order to keep the peace in Mount Olympus, she swore to Zeus to remain a virgin forever. In return, Zeus granted her the central place in the house, which is the hearth, and receiving the first and richest portion of humans' divine offering. As the goddess of the hearth, Hestia personified the fire burning in the hearth of every home in Greece. Artemis. Artemis was the daughter of Zeus and Titaness Leto. She was the twin sister of Apollo, Greek god of sun and light. Artemis was the Greek goddess of hunt and the moon. She spent much of her time in the forest surrounded by animals such as bears and deers. She was pictured as a young girl wearing a knee-length tunic and armed with her bow and arrow. When Artemis was a very young child, she asked 10 wishes to his father, Zeus. 1. To remain a virgin forever. 2. To have many of her own names to make a distinction between her and Apollo. 3. To have a reliable bow and arrow forged by the Cyclopes. 4. To be known as the Light Bringer. 5. To be permitted to wear a tunic, to allow her to hunt without restriction. 6. To have her personal choir of 60 of Oceanus' daughters, all 9 years of age. 7. To have an entourage of 20 nymphs, to watch her weapons and care for her, many hunting dogs. 8. To have domain over all mountains. 9. To be granted patronage of any city, so long as she does not have to travel there often. 10. To be called upon for births by women experiencing painful childbirth. Athena. Athena was the daughter of Zeus and Titaness Metis. Her birth was one of particular interest in Greek mythology. After Metis became pregnant, it was prophesied that Metis would one day give birth to a son who would overthrow Zeus. To prevent this from happening, Zeus swallowed Metis without knowing that she was pregnant. Metis gave birth to Athena inside and began crafting a shield, spear, and a helmet for her daughter. As Athena grew inside, Zeus started having tremendous headaches. Zeus was in such pain that he asked the god Hephaestus to crack open his head with an axe. Athena jumped out of his head, fully grown, and armed with a spear and a shield. Athena was the Greek goddess of war and wisdom. She was always accompanied by her owl and Nike, the goddess of victory. She was also known to be the goddess of strategy, weaving, crafts, courage, and strength. She was pictured as a stately woman armed with a shield and spear, wearing a long robe, crested helmet, and the famed aegis, a shield or a breastplate bearing a Gorgon's head. Athena swore on the day of her birth that she would never marry or have children. One of the reasons she became a virgin was to avoid having a fate similar to her mother, Metis.